Hello. Yeah. I would like to respond to the two questions that this gentleman, posed to me. First, on the designs of the houses. What we're doing now, yes, that's one of the things that we are looking into now, and how we have to design the houses along the coast so that they will be more resilient. It used to be that the signs in the Philippines is really like, A-type. I think what they're trying to do now is to really make it flat so that the wind, it's actually the wind that really toppled down the rooftops and all these things, okay? So that's one thing that's being done now. There are places in the Philippines that are, frequently visited by typhoons. One of them is the one on the northern part, Batanes Island, if you that place. And the houses are really rounded. The rooftop are really rounded. And they have really been resilient to, strong winds like this. And I think that's the one thing that they're going to be trying to design in these coastal areas. The Philippines is, very much a coastal area. The other thing is that because this is the first time that we experienced really a storm surge like that. We did experience a storm surge sometime about, it's in Manila, where the embassy row were, but it was not really that huge one. So people were just, taking it easy. Now, if the storm surge is just like what happened in Manila, that's nothing, okay? So nobody realized that it was really going to be huge like that, okay? And so now what we're trying to do is really relocate all houses. We have actually, regulations now, not to build anything within 40 meters from the shoreline. But fishermen, people that are, having their livelihood, they really insist. They are actually quarreling with the government. How come you are preventing them from, doing these things, building their houses, building their facilities and those things. Warnings, we did those warnings even a week before, because of the new technologies that we have had. We already more or less, our PAG-ASA, weather bureau, knew already that, something like this was coming. Huge typhoon, super typhoon number 4, and we have already warned. They have also predicted, the flow, the path of the typhoon. And we have warned many of these people. I was watching TV before the typhoon, had a landfall, and people were saying that, we're just cutting trees because, to prevent them, to give them resiliency against winds probably, or trees, falling down. They did not know that it was going to be the flood, that would affect them. Many of them really did not heed, to go to the evacuation areas. And probably there was also inefficient and inadequacy of, good evacuation areas to accommodate all those that, needed to be evacuated. What research we are doing is not really research on, the natural disasters themselves, but really research on technologies by which, we could mitigate, ways by which we could improve our early warning devices, ways by which we can enhance information so that we can make, more accurate announcement and information to people, exactly when, where, and the strength and all these things. Those are the kinds of informations that, research activities that we are doing in the Philippines.
I'll respond first of all to the first question about the phases and whether this is the fact that, or my statement that many agencies don't get to or didn't get to the sustainability phase in perhaps in other disasters because they didn't have the resources to do so. And was that an act of commission or omission? No, I think it really is, well, two things. I think especially in earlier times, when there's scarce resources, agencies are under pressure to use those resources for the most immediate recovery needs, and that would be housing and food and medical care, those kind of emergency response measures. And sometimes the funds just aren't there even to meet those basic kind of post-emergency phase needs. So in a response like the tsunami, where there was so much there was so much more funding available, they were able to carry it out through a longer set of phases. But one way to address that, and I think many agencies are doing this now, is to start building those resilience measures, that sustainability mindset, into even the first and second phases. So right from the beginning, you start to focus on those. And I think that has been a transition, and it's happened partly from the result of the experience of the tsunami. Just quickly into your question about the design of houses. Actually, that was an oversight on my part. The design of houses was very much had earthquake resistance built in. Tsunami resistance, it's very difficult to build a house that's tsunami resistant. Although, interestingly, the traditional house structure in Aceh was houses that were built up on stilts, on poles, very strong, sturdy poles, and they were both earthquake resistant and resistant to tsunami. So when a tsunami would come through, or a storm surge kind of situation, the water would flow through those. If it runs into a solid wall, then it knocks it down. So some of the mosques also were able to stand because they had that kind of pillar structure. So yes, there's a lot that can be done through engineering. And in the community-based housing project that I was talking about, teaching communities how they can build earthquake-resistant technology, how they can use construction methods that are resistant to earthquakes, especially in the Java where the earthquake had been, was very much a part of the program, and to the point that communities would even specifically ask for the type of rebar that met the criteria for the program, even if it was for their own reconstruction, not funded through the program. So I was just going to say, I have some materials from our projects and some of our lessons learned documents. If anyone wants copies of those, please come up after. And then one other thing on the networks of countries in Asia in responding to disasters, there is actually a network on tsunami early warning. The warning signal for a tsunami is an earthquake. And so when there's an earthquake anywhere in the Pacific and Asia, Indian Ocean region now, there is a network, and that response and information goes out very quickly. And so there have been several times in the last few years, for example, that there's been major warnings of a possible tsunami, and Banda Aceh City, which was so badly affected, has evacuated because they have that information now.